Reality, though. Big Perk, I got to give Big Perk props. You called it. They ain't good enough. They ain't good enough. It's time. Joe Lacob, Golden State Warriors, Peter Guber, rest of the Golden State Warriors, it's time to break this up. I'm over the Golden State Warriors. And I'm going to tell you why. I looked at the clutch time, obviously clutch time, Shannon, and Perk knows this last 5 minutes within 5 points. Do you know that Klay Thompson in clutch time, while Steph Curry is shooting 51% from the field, 50% from three in clutch time, Klay Thompson, universally recognized one of the greatest shooters this game has ever seen, is shooting 28% from the field and 26% on threes.
Welcome to Raw Sports TV 23. Hit that like button and make sure you subscribe. We have a major problem on our hands with the Golden State Warriors. I didn't think it was going to be bad or this bad this season. I mean, man, they started off winning their first 5 games, and then all of a sudden, things start turning around in the worst way for the Golden State Warriors. I mean, last year, their problem was winning on the road. They did end up making the playoffs, taking out the Sacramento Kings and getting to the second round, playing the LA Lakers, where they just came up short or they didn't have enough. And I have other thoughts on that series also. But this year, there's a whole bunch of problems. Number one, they picked up an aging superstar, at one time a superstar, in Chris Paul, known as one of the best point guards of all time in the NBA, who has a list and history of injuries that he battles every season. I mean, just last season, he went out with the Phoenix Suns with a groin injury. So that took him out. The year before then, he had a hamstring injury. He's had shoulder injuries. And so I'm very surprised that they made that move. They did trade Jordan Poole for Chris Paul, but I am very shocked that they did that, knowing that Chris Paul is not reliable. Now, I know Jordan Poole probably had to go because of all the attention that was going on, media attention about them breaking up and the incident with Draymond Green. So there was conflict there, but I just couldn't see why or reason that they got Chris Paul. Number two, their problem with Klay Thompson has been off the chart. Klay Thompson, a sharpshooter, one of the greatest shooters in NBA history. I believe he should go down as a Hall of Fame player next to Steph Curry, because they wouldn't win those championships without both of them playing as well as they did and without the style and the efficiency of Klay Thompson. I mean, think about the OKC series back some years ago when they were down and Klay Thompson brought them back and they end up winning that series in 2016. It was all Klay Thompson. But with that being said, throughout the injuries that he has suffered, he is not the same anymore. I mean, he was averaging 17.1 points per game, but now his scoring average is down to 12 points per game this season. And he snapped out of it for a few games, and I thought the old Klay Thompson had returned, and he reverted right back to Klay Thompson that we are seeing now, that we are not really satisfied with. He did request a contract extension, and I understand that someone that has been that loyal for the Golden State Warriors, has brought them 4 championships. You don't want to cut this person or trade him. Now, I don't even think you should trade him. Maybe you want to reverse the role and send him to the bench just out of loyalty. But he can't start anymore. The Golden State Warriors are going to have to make some changes. I mean, ever since they lost Kevin Durant, I knew it was going to be a problem. Yes, they did hoist another championship ring and banner in 2022 as they beat the Boston Celtics. I mean, I thought that things would get better, but things just got worse after that. Superstars began to age. Draymond and his antics, being thrown out of games, being suspended. I mean, that has cost the team tremendously. The punch on Jordan Poole, the choke on Rudy Gobert, the hit on Jusuf Nurkic mentally has worn down the team, and his unavailability to be in these games because he is key and vital to their defense. And I don't just think that Draymond can get it together at this particular point. I think that you're going to have to probably trade him also. But it's unfair to waste some of Steph Curry's greatness, because Steph Curry is still averaging about 27 points per game this season. He's still efficient. He can still get to the bucket. He can still give you 27 points per game. He can still be a player for the next couple years that you could possibly shoot for one more championship with. But with that being said, Steph Curry doesn't have enough help. Andrew Wiggins, he hasn't shown up this season. He's averaging 12 points per game, and he is lackluster defender. He's not the same defender that he was during the championship season. And also, it was reported by Kendra Andrews that the Warriors had become impatient with his lack of condition. So there's a whole host of problems. You have Gary Payton Jr. that's injured. You have Chris Paul that is injured. You also have Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody that want more playing time, and they don't trust Steve Kerr to develop them. I mean, I can understand, because they didn't develop James Wiseman, and they should have, because the other problem with the Golden State Warriors, they're too small when they're facing teams like the Lakers, the Denver Nuggets, etc. They don't have that big in the paint that could rebound and that can protect the paint. And that old method and standard and way they play, just fast-paced motion basketball, relying on a three-point shot, is not going to get it done if they don't have a big. Comment below. Let me know. I think that they need to make some serious changes. What those changes are, I agree with Stephen A. Smith.